PointsBet Sportsbook. The over-under for Derrick Henry's rushing yards against the Chiefs is set at 126.5. Henry is leading the league in both rushing yards and rushing touchdowns, and he's currently on pace to threaten Eric Dickerson's single-season rushing record. So, Shannon, will Derrick Henry go over or under 126.5 rushing yards this weekend?
Skip, this is ridiculous. I cannot believe Vegas set this line. I don't think people realize what Vegas did with this. This is the equivalent of saying Tom Brady over-unders 385 to 400 yards passing.
More 400, I would agree.
Skip, this is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
126.5 yards, but when you got the league's best rusher and you got the 27th rush defense, this is what the expectation is.
In the age of the pass.
Yes. Thank you. And this is why I think Derrick Henry's going to get a lot of MVP votes, Skip, for the simple fact of in a passing league, he's doing this. Skip, I'm glad Derrick Henry got his money. Skip, this guy's on pace to carry the ball 459 times, which would shatter the record. I think Larry Johnson has the record at 416. And remember, once he did that, Skip, he was never the same.
Nope.
You get...
That was... Coach Herm did that.
And I'm talking about young, all these guys, when you look at Larry Johnson and James Wilder and Jamal Anderson, Eddie Anderson, DeMarco Murray, Skip, all these guys were 26. They got to that point of no return. They were never the same guys.
Agreed.
But he's going over 126.5.
You really think so?
Oh, absolutely.
Wait a second. They're playing your Super Bowl pick.
And then my Super Bowl pick is 27th in rush defense. But here's the thing, though, Skip, is they're going to give him the touches. It's like a receiver. You know Devontae is going to have numbers because Aaron Rodgers is going to give him targets. You throw a guy enough targets, he's going to get numbers. They're going to hand this guy the ball 25 times.
Yep.
And I just don't see how they keep him under. He's averaging 145 yards over his last 5 games. 145 over his last 5. And he had 140 plus, and he only got 20 carries on Monday night.
Yep.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's going over it. And he remembers what Frank Clark said in the AFC Championship game, that Derrick Henry doesn't run as hard as he should. He should have more yards than what he had. And they shut him down in that game.
They did.
But
19 carries, 69 yards in that AFC title game.
He ain't going to have more than 19 carries. He's going to have more than 69 yards. I'm going to say he goes over 126.
Okay. And obviously that game in question was at Kansas City, and this one's at Tennessee. Right. Tennessee is getting 4.5 points, which is another shocker to me.
Yeah. I don't know who took that. I know. I'm not. Well, I wouldn't take that. I would take the points. I would take Tennessee in the points.
Okay. I'm going to go under 126.5.
Oh, you would go 120?
Well, yes, I am, because of your initial point. This is just silly. This is just, like, ridiculous. 126.5?
Yes.
I have to go under because history would be on my side.
Right.
Stats would be on my side. Remember, he had the opening day loss to Arizona when Arizona sort of announced itself out of nowhere, and that was 17 carries for only 58 yards that day. And Indy did a decent job on him. It was 28 carries for 113. Right. So I'm going to say it's more in line with that Indy game where they come a little bit harder.
Right.
And again, Spagnuolo, your coordinator, obviously, of your Chiefs, he had a pretty good plan against Derrick Henry in the championship game. Maybe their defense was obviously playing better.
The defense was better, but here's the thing. You got Julio. Now, Julio left the game with the hamstring injury on Monday night. It's going to be interesting to see. But A.J. Brown. Yep. Now, all of a sudden, and Skip, look, they don't really generate pressure. You need to generate pressure. But the thing is, you got to force Tennessee to play from behind. Because if you let them allow them to be nip-tuck in the ball game and they can still hand the ball off, now they're going to play action you and boot you, and guys be running scot-free.
Okay, I hear you. But they did play Monday night.
Yes.
And even though he didn't have high carries, he had high yards and high collision, high contact yards. Yeah. 143. Be a little harder to get back up for this and to be run quite as hot and hard as he did on Monday night. Maybe the Frank Clark will motivate him. Yeah. But I saw Brett Favre said the other day that Derrick Henry reminds him of Randy Moss. It's like, I know they don't play the same position, but in that, in Moss's heyday, 2007, you could go into the game and say, we're going to take Randy Moss out of the game, and you just couldn't. You try everything in your power to stop him. he was just too dominating. You put 3 people on him, and he would run through and past the 3 of them.
Because the thing is, Skip, it's so hard to maintain a level of focus for the entirety of the ball game. Because all it takes is one slip up. It takes, okay, we got our fits perfect.
Well, that's what happened to Buffalo the other night. They were in charge.
Right.
And all of a sudden, 75 yards happened.
And that's what it is, Skip. You can be focused.
Weren't they up 14-0?
No, they was up 6-0. Remember, they kept getting in the red zone, and they kept kicking field goals. And the next thing you know, he breaks up 76.
They had scored another touchdown, but whatever. He just broke it off and was gone.
He was gone, and so that's what's so hard about defending guys like a Derrick Henry or Randy Moss. You've got to be perfect for the entirety of the game, because one play, Randy Moss would go 60 yards or 80 yards. One play, Derrick Henry has the ability to go 80 yards. And now all of a sudden, 80 yards, Skip, you give him another 10 carries, he's going to be way over 100 yards.
Okay. I do think that Spags can go in there and say, I'm sorry, we're just not going to let you have that. If Tannehill beats us, Tannehill beats us.
Right.
If A.J. Brown beats us, he just beats us. And it'll be that kind of game. I still think he can definitely get 100. He might get to that 120 mark. I just don't think he can get to 126.5, because that's asking a lot off a short week.
Make him do what Lamar did to Indy. Indy said, y'all not running the football. Lamar says, I'll throw for 400.
He did.
The Patriots said, we're not giving you Zeke. We're not giving you Pollard.
They did not.
I'll throw for 4+ then.
He did.
So I agree with you. But, Skip, the thing is that I just haven't seen. I mean, you saw what the Browns did to him running the football. And I love that they had a 2-headed monster. But Derrick Henry, is he's played the last 3 years, he's been out of his mind running the football.
He's a 1-headed monster.
He might outweigh Kareem Hunt and Chubb by himself. I've never seen a man I just hope you can just see this man walking down the street and walk up to him and get a glimpse of just how big he is.
Because you saw him in Denver.
I saw him in Denver. On the football field. I said, man, they been lying on this man. And I told him, I said, they be lying, man. You know good well you ain't no 240, 260. And so now you put a helmet on him and shoulder.
6'3"?
I give him 6'3.5", 260. And he put on the helmet and shoulder pads. And I'm a safety. I ain't trying to tackle him. Get that angle, I'm going to jump on his back. I hope they get to him first.
Once upon a time, Dallas had a number 22 who was about half his size, who became the all-time leading rusher in a completely different way than he does.
Oh, absolutely, Emmett wasn't taking no shots,
quickness in a confined space. He could make you miss. Never got a shot on Emmitt Smith.
Well, I'm just glad Derrick Henry doesn't have that Cowboys offensive line, because he rushed for 3,000 yards.
He might.
Those big guys.
There's no denying that he is red hot. But, guys, we've got some breaking news about Ben Simmons' future with the 76ers. Don't go anywhere. Start, and Hall of Famer and Fox NFL lead analyst Troy Aikman believes this Dallas team is different than in previous years, adding, quote, there's an energy that you can feel when you watch them. Those teams that have that kind of enthusiasm and play like they've been playing, usually good things happen. Troy even went as far to say that the Cowboys are better than the Cardinals, the Bucks, Rams, and Packers in the NFC. Shannon, how much of a problem do you have with this?
I don't have a problem with what Troy said. Obviously, he studied the game. He knows the game very well, but I disagree with what he's saying. I got the Cowboys the 4th best team in the NFC right now. I'll still put the Rams, the Cardinals, the Bucks, because they all have just as dynamic of an offense as the Cowboys. And defensively, the Cards are 3rd in defense, Rams are 9th, and the Bucks are 17th, and the Cowboys are 20th. They gave up 21 points to the Eagles. They gave up 28 to Carolina, 20 to the Giants. And most of those teams were missing the entirety of their offense. So I'm not finna fall in love, because I think they gave up 29 to the Patriots. And I'm not going to fall in love with them, because I still believe they can be had defensively. And I think when you look at the Cardinals, you look at the Rams, you look at the Bucks, and what they possess offensively, they can match the Cowboys. And I think that's where the Cowboys applies the most pressure, is because their offense, they are dynamic. Their offense is a lot better than what I thought it would be. I think their offense is better than what a lot of people thought it would be. They're able to run the football, and when you take the rush away, Dak has performed unbelievable, saying, Lee, okay, take that away. I still can throw this football, right? Okay. So they've done that, Skip. So for me, I don't have a problem with what Troy said. I just disagree, because I think the Rams, the Cards, and the Bucks all have just as dynamic offenses, slightly better defenses. So I would say the Cowboys are the 4th best team in the NFC.
Okay. I hear everything you just said. It was reasonable. It was well researched, well validated with all of your stats. I want, before I launch, people to understand that Troy Aikman, obviously, he played Hall of Fame quarterback for my Dallas Cowboys. But in his role here at Fox as the
he ain't no
lead,
homer.
He is